I am innocent. I have no case to answer. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu tells Justice James Omotosho at the Federal High Court in Abuja. Hear the news in details. Wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world, you are welcome once again to Biafra Unite channel /television this very moment. Today's date is 28th of June 2025, and I have a very important information for every one of you listening to my voice right now from wherever you are all over the world. Biafrans and lovers of freedom, I want you to pay very good attention to this very news because it's very, very important. I can assure you, my people. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, has told Justice James Omotosho at the Federal High Court in Abuja, including the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom Nigerian government and the public, that he is innocent. He has equally declared himself innocent and said that he has no any single case to answer, irrespective of the allegations of terrorism and treasonable felony leveled against him by the federal government of the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom, Nigeria. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has denied them all. Now, let us read this very news in details. As you can see on your screen, I will be reading from the Vanguard news platform of the Zoo, Nigeria. And according to that title, they said, alleged terrorism. I have no case to answer, Kanu tells court. Abuja. The detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, Nkafaneti Ozi proscribed today. Vanguard, or the Kafecha Aligo. Let's take that again. The detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is facing a 7-count terrorism and treasonable felony charge, yesterday told the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja that he has no case to answer. Kanu took the position shortly after the federal government, which is prosecuting him, announced its decision to close its case. Federal government wrapped up its case after the 5th prosecution witness, PW5, concluded his testimony and was discharged by the court. The witness, whose name was shielded, was simply identified as Triple E before he gave his testimony behind a protective screen. Upon the conclusion of his cross-examination by a member of Kanu's legal team, Dr. Onyechi Ikpeazu-San, Federal Government Counsel Chief Agboyega Awomolo-San informed the court that he would no longer produce any witness to testify in the matter. Awomolo-San said, the prosecution team was satisfied that from the avalanche of evidence tendered through the 5 witnesses, the government had effectively established the charge against the defendant. I will therefore, at this juncture, close the case of the prosecution, the senior lawyer added. Okay, now, through the avalanche of evidence, imagine, with all the shame that they have provided, all the shame that these people provided since they have been running up and down on this case, yet they provided nothing but shame against themselves. Even when their so-called witnesses were stammering, all the questions thrown at them were not answered. None of them. The only answer they were giving is, I don't know. From beginning to the end, I don't know. The only thing they know is that Nnamdi Kanu is a terrorist. That is the only thing, the only answer they know. Nnamdi Kanu made a broadcast. He incited people. That is the only thing they know. He's a terrorist. That's all. No evidence whatsoever. They even went ahead to bring evidence from Vanguard publication, that one Onyami said, Nnamdi Kanu asked him to go and unalive 2,000 people, and he managed to unalive 30. That is the evidence from Vanguard. Zoo Media. Mad people everywhere. Very, very useless and shameless idiots. Now, they continued with their madness. Following the announcement, the head of Kanu's defense team, Chief Kanu Agabi-san, notified the court about his client's decision to enter a no-case submission in the matter. A no-case submission is made when a defendant is convinced. Pay attention. This is the explanation of that no-case answer or no-case submission. Now, a no-case submission is made when a defendant is convinced that the totality of evidence that was adduced by the prosecution failed to establish a prima facie case that is capable of warranting the court to compel him to enter his defense to the charge. Should the application succeed, the defendant will be discharged by the court, thus making an end to the trial. Let me calm down. Let me take this again for avoidance of doubt. For avoidance of doubt. It said here, pay attention. Should the application succeed, you remember that same yesterday, the judge, after Nnamdi Kanu's lead counsel, Kanu Agabi San, told the judge that Nnamdi Kanu has said he has no case to answer. After that very word was spoken, the judge told the defense counsel to put it on a written note for avoidance of doubt. Makandi say, I am not aware. You understand? So, should the application succeed, the defendant will be discharged by the court, thus making an end to the trial. Of course, we all know that Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer. Oh yes, you can say he formed Eastern Security Network. What is the name? Eastern Security Network. Eastern part, security. When has forming a security network become a crime? When has forming a security outlet or outfit become a crime in the world? Or would the judge, if judge does not end the case, or if the application does not succeed, would Justice James Omotosho, with all due respect, prefer what is happening in Benue State, in some part of Kogi, in Kwara State, in Yobe State, in Zamfara State, in Kaduna State, in Borno State, in Katsina State, and other parts of the northern Nigeria happen here in the east? I'm asking, would James Omotosho, the judge, Justice James Omotosho, would he prefer that what is going on in Benue State today, at least over 200 people were massacred by the Fulani herdsmen terrorists, the fourth deadliest terror group in the world? Would James Omotosho prefer such inhumanity to take place in the eastern part of Nigeria for now? So, of course, nobody's talking about Nnamdi Kanu talking about Biafra or saying Biafra must, leave Nigeria, because that has never been a crime in the world. It's his own opinion. That is his own opinion. So if he has a lot of followers and supporters, then let the Nigerian government give him referendum. It is the normal way. You can't force me to be with you. It is within his inalienable right to protect his own people if they give him the mandate. And they gave him the mandate. That's why when he made the call, the youths came out en masse to form the ESN. So it is within his inalienable right to protect himself. Are you paying attention? So you cannot say, you don't have right. No, we cannot fold our arms and see Fulani massacring our people and taking over our land, just as is happening in Benue State. Benue is just our neighbor. Even it's happening here already. In Enugu State, you can see what is happening in Ehamufu. So you can't stop us. You can't stop us from defending ourselves and our land. Oh yes. So I'm sure that Justice James Omotosho will do the needful. He has to do the needful. Oh yes, he has to do it. Because Nnamdi Kanu has no case to answer. In reality, he has no single case to answer. That is the truth. Now, given Kanu's decision, Trial Justice James Omotosho gave his legal team and federal government 14 days each to file written addresses and 2 days to file their reply on points of view. The case was subsequently adjourned till July 18 for adoption of the no-case submission. Earlier in the proceeding, Federal government, through the PW5, tendered in evidence a report it said linked the embattled IPOB leader to the unaliving of 186 police officers, as well as the destruction of 164 police stations during the NSAS protest that took place in 2020. You see, this is to show that they have no evidence against Nnamdi Kanu. NSAS protest, that the entire zoo youth, participated. The youths of the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom participated on that very NSAS protest, including the Northerners. I could remember during that NSAS protest, they chased Buhari. Even in Katsina, in Sokoto, they chased Buhari. They were even throwing stones to his helicopter in Kanu. I think that happened in Kanu State. Oh yes, they chased him. Is that Nnamdi Kanu's doing? The answer is no. So NSAS protest was a national, tragedy. A national tragedy. And what made it national tragedy? The only thing that made it a national tragedy was because the Nigerian army and police started shooting live ammunitions, started shooting innocent citizens who were protesting against the brutality of a certain police unit called SAS. You understand? So the entire youth came out and said, we must end it. They started protesting. Along the line, Nigerian army and police started shooting them with live ammunition, unaliving many of them. You are talking about how many people, how many police officers were unalive. You are not even talking about the Lekki massacre. Nobody is talking about the Lekki massacre. Can you imagine that the innocent citizens of Nigeria carrying placards and Nigerian flag, singing Nigerian national anthem, and Nigerian soldiers have the liver, have the guts, have the balls to open fire on an innocent protesters that gathered en masse at Lekki Toll Gate, Lagos State. Nigerian military, Nigerian soldiers have the morale to open fire on an innocent citizens who were carrying Nigerian flag, singing Nigerian national anthem, protesting against the SAS brutality. They opened fire on them, killing hundreds of them, if not thousands. Nobody is talking about it. None of those soldiers have been arrested till today. They are unknown soldiers. None of the policemen have been arrested till today. They are unknown police officers. And here you are, tagging the case on Nnamdi Kanu. Is that not a foolishness? Is that not a stupidity? Is that not a stupid movement? Unbelievable. No wonder Nnamdi Kanu has told them that he has no case to answer. Now they continued. The witness, who is an operative of the Department of State Services, DSS, told the court that he was part of a team that was deployed to gather intelligence and compile reports on the impact of violence that trailed the protest. He told the court that he got to know Kanu through the media, though they never met in person. He told the court that his mandate was to record all the destructions of public properties and deaths of security operatives that occurred as a result of Kanu's radio broadcast. You see? You see now? He said that his mandate was to record all the destructions of public properties and deaths of security operatives. Oh, death of security operatives. So who has the mandate to record the death of innocent citizens of Nigeria that were massacred by the so-called security operatives? Who has the mandate to record it? Because this mandate, as the mandate of recording the destruction of public properties and the death of security operatives was given to a security operative, a DSS officer, that means another security officer, a DSS officer, should equally be given mandate to record the death of innocent citizens of Nigeria that were massacred by the same security operatives that are supposed to protect them during the protest. So we want to see who has the mandate to record the massacre of innocent citizens. Oh yes, we need it, because you cannot sideline that. They were human beings. They were human beings, and they were citizens of Nigeria. So you cannot, sweep it under the carpet, and here you are talking about security operatives. Who even massacre security operatives who can massacre security operatives? Who? When they have the arms, they have ammunition. Mad people everywhere. Among the items he tendered, which were admitted in evidence by the court, included a damage assessment report, death certificate of some security officers, as well as a certificate of compliance. Kanu's lawyer challenged the admissibility of the exhibit, saying he would adduce his reaction in the defendant's final written address. It will be recalled that Kanu was arrested on October 14, 2015. That was arrest. Yes, I know. Upon his return to the country from the United Kingdom. That was arrest. Now let us see if they talk about his kidnap as well. Following his arraignment in court on April 25, 2017, granted him bail on health grounds after he had spent about 18 months in detention. Upon the perfection of the bail conditions, he was on April 28, 2017 released from the Kuje prison. However, midway into the trial, the IPOB leader escaped from the country after soldiers invaded his country home at Afaruku Ibeku in Umuahia, Abia State, an operation that led to the death of some of his followers. Oh, Vanguard. Okay. No matter the hatred you have on the Igbo people, no matter how you hate Nnamdi Kanu, it is good to speak the truth, no matter how bitter that truth could be. It is true to say it. So Vanguard, you have stated it. It is very clear. Since they know how to bring Vanguard publication as an evidence against Nnamdi Kanu, where they say one Ozoma said that Nnamdi Kanu told him to unalive 2,000 people and he managed to unalive 30 people. They brought it as an evidence. They should also take this one. I'm telling the prosecution because we know the truth already. Nnamdi Kanu knows the truth. The defense counsel knows the truth. The judge knows the truth. So the prosecution counsel, the prosecution team that knows how to bring Vanguard publication as an evidence should also take this one. That Vanguard has published that many of his followers were massacred. And Vanguard also said his country home in Afaruku Ibeku was, invaded by the soldiers. So they must understand this. This is the truth now. We are talking the truth. Now, Kanu was later rearrested. No, not rearrested. Kidnapped. That was never arrest. There was no any evidence of arrest because he did not undergo any extradition, hearing or proceedings in Kenya. There was nothing like that. So it was a pure kidnap. In Kenya, on June 19, 2021, an extraordinarily rendition back to the country by security agents on June 27, 2021. Oh, extraordinarily renditioned. It's no longer extra. This is the very first time Vanguard is using the right word, even though they said he arrested because they cannot say kidnapped, because it's a shame for a national newspaper to say that its own government, committed an act of kidnap. So it's a big shame. It's an embarrassment, right? So I understand, but at least they have said he was extraordinarily renditioned, which is an international crime. So Nigeria has to answer these things. You understand? So now, we also remember that yesterday, 19th of June, was complete 4 years. Nnamdi Kanu was kidnapped and beaten to stupor in Kenya, in Nairobi, Kenya. And we are waiting for 27th of this very month to celebrate. These days have become, I don't know, I'm going to look for a word to use, to qualify the significance of these very days in our lifetime. Owing to the development, the trial court on June 29, 2021 remanded him in custody of DSS, where he has remained to date, which is also another crime of his own. On April 8, 2022, the court struck out 8 out of 15 count charges that federal government preferred against him on the premise that they lack substance. Likewise, the Abuja Division of the Court of Appeal on October 13, 2022 ordered Kanu's immediate release from detention, even as it quashed the charge against him. Dissatisfied with the decision, federal government led by Fulani oligarchy, remember that, took the matter before the Supreme Court, even as it persuaded the appellate court to suspend the execution of the judgment pending the determination of its appeal. Meanwhile, deciding the appeal, the Supreme Court on December 15, 2023, vacated the judgment of the appellate court and gave federal government the nod to try the IPOB leader on the subsisting 7-count charge. You see, that is where the problem is today, because of injustice and the neglect or disobedience of court rules and orders. That's why the zoo is shaking and quaking today. So, my people, Nnamdi Kanu has made it known to the judge and to the entire world that he is innocent and has no case to answer. So we are waiting on the 18th day of July, 2025, the day that we are going to see what Justice James Omotosho will do on this very matter. If Nnamdi Kanu will be released, discharged, and acquitted on that very day, we shall see. If Justice James Omotosho does anything contrary to that, then we begin to talk. We begin to have conversations. From then, should we begin to have conversations. But for now, let us see how it all going to happen. Thank you, my people. To salu numozia and make it go viral.
Now, for most of you that might not really know, Showore and Nnamdi Kanu has actually been good friends, and Showore might not necessarily be the kind of person you like as a Biafran, because he also is pushing for one Nigeria. Yeah, but the reality is that Showore is the few politicians who know the truth and has continued to speak out the truth. And that is why up till today, Showore has been standing for justice for Nnamdi Kanu. Now, he called Nnamdi Kanu a prophet. And you all know that there is no lie in that, because Nnamdi Kanu still remains a prophet. And there are reasons why he is seen as a prophet. The world currently is actually looking and hoping that Nnamdi Kanu is released. Let's face reality. Some might not like it, but majority of the world knows the importance of Nnamdi Kanu in liberating Africans generally. So it's not an issue of Biafra alone. Okay, let me not use the word. Let me use Africans, because Africans are beginning to get wiser. We are seeing what Ibrahim Traore is doing, in Burkina Faso, and other countries are also stepping up because of these eye-openers from Nnamdi Kanu. Now, pushing that aside, the Benue massacre that is trending today, go to your social media, especially those of you on Twitter. Go there, you will see that Nnamdi Kanu has been trending for the past consecutively for complete 1 week now. I've been following the trend consecutively for the past 1 week because of these realities that has been happening long time before Tinubu even thought of becoming a president. Nnamdi Kanu has revealed that he's going to come out as a president long time ago. That is going to emerge that this is the game plan. This whole Benue massacre and the Fulani herdsmen trying to Islamize the whole country and land grabbing that we are experiencing today. Nnamdi Kanu predicted these things. It wasn't a prediction, because using prediction is like berating the prophecies of Nnamdi Kanu. This is accuracy to the highest level. This is what we call prophecy. Not all these shabarabarabara you hear on social media from fake so-called men of God. So-called men of God. Small G-O-D. Small G-O-D. So-called men of small G-O-D who claim that they are men of small G-O-D. I think you understand. This is accurate prophecy. There is a level of intelligence a man will get. Go and check the lives of those who have acquired intelligence. They read ahead and they try as much as possible to predict the outcome of what will be. That is why most of the students, when we were in school, most of us that did well, we try as much as possible to read ahead of the teacher. So it was easier for us to predict the kind of questions that will come out in, these men are so intelligent. And then Nnamdi Kanu mixing his own with, his consecration as a spiritual man has opened the channel of another light that he continued to bring out for Biafrans to see. The world today is now seeing and referring back to that man who gave a prophecy on what is currently happening in the Zoological Republic of Animal Kingdom, Nigeria. That is why people like Showore will keep talking about Nnamdi Kanu in years to come. Now, listen to the whole thing that has been trending on social media. This is one out of so many. In fact, I had to even go back to watch this prophecy. I had to go back. They found a way to bring him down. They did everything possible and involved international communities to be able to bring him down, to abduct him illegally, because they knew the kind of power he possessed. And he was the only person who was exposing these things.
How many of you remember this video?
He had a timetable for them. Everything they've planned.
Come out and say you remember this
one.
video.
But now,
Nigerians
what
were
is
so
the ordeal
short-sighted
of the Benue people?
Even
Some of the Biafran people
This thing
who
happened
claim
years
I love
back.
Nnamdi Kanu, most of them are
How
still
many
falling
of you
into the same
still remember
beat
this video
that
and
Nnamdi
year?
Kanu
Please, if you remember the year
Most of
this
them are
video,
still falling,
Nnamdi Kanu
all in the name of,
dropped this video,
you're
please go to
trying
the comment
fight
section and tell us, please,
you're
what
trying
to
to fight another Biafran who is speaking
He
up.
saw this and he exposed it.
So
But
that is just
they
the
never
truth.
listened
Now
to
listen to
him.
this video also. Most of them, said he's a mad person. They called him all kind of names. But today, they are bringing back. This is why I love the internet. This is why I love the internet. The internet is like God reminding you that so time you said so thing. Look at it. Everything will show. Internet never forgets. These things were recorded, and this is the lovely things about it. This is why I love the internet. They are bringing it out. In fact, the funniest thing is that as this thing is happening, wherever Nnamdi Kanu is in the DSS detention, because he said this. But we were so short-sighted that some of them, kept on abusing Nnamdi Kanu. Instead of finding a way to prevent this, left with Nnamdi Kanu, there wouldn't have been any issue of insecurity in Biafran land, because he had the solution to every issue, because he was like 100 steps ahead of them. He was. That is the high level of intelligence and consecration that he had. He was far ahead of them. Spiritually, he was ahead of them. Physically, he was ahead of them. If not that somebody within rebelled Nnamdi Kanu, the zoo wouldn't have, abducted Nnamdi Kanu. But the reality and the question that we keep on asking is, what offense did Nnamdi Kanu really commit that he is still under the DSS custody? Let me leave you with the wise words of Nnamdi Kanu as you answer that question in the comment section.